Let's go, Meat. I'm super stoked for this one. It's the long-awaited return of the Korean Superboy, aka Doo-Ho Choi, as a about -200 favorite, taking on Kyle Nelson, who is always tough and comes in as a +160, +170-ish dog, and makes sense, right? Kyle Nelson hasn't had much success recently. He's lost 4 of 5. The last time we saw him was back in July when he got absolutely smoked by Jai Herbert, and that was at lightweight. And so I'm curious to see what Kyle Nelson looks like in this contest, where he's making that very tough cut for him down to 145. And at 145 is where he picked up his only UFC win. It was against Polo Reyes, but that guy's no longer in the UFC. And then he picked up some losses to Matt Sales and got absolutely smoked by Billy Q. But no real shame in that one, because Billy Q is definitely a tough, probably top 15 guy at 145. But I'm interested to see what Kyle Nelson looks like in this one against Korean Superboy, who also hasn't had much success recently, but we also haven't seen him since 2019, right? And when we did, it was against Charles Jourdain. Fight of the night, an awesome performance from both guys, but one that Charles was able to get the second round finish in. And he also lost to Jeremy Stevens, lost to Cub Swanson before that, and that actually got nominated for the Hall of Fame in 2022. So Korean Superboy, the UFC Hall of Famer, is trying to get back on track with this one, and it'd be sweet because he hasn't won since 2016, picked up that KO finish over Thiago Tavares, and everyone at that point thought that perhaps this is a future contender, a future belt holder, but it sort of went downhill after that. So he also has dealt with hella injuries, right? He had this serious eye injury most recently. He had a knee injury back in the day and a couple other things that he's had to deal with, but I think that Korean Superboy in this contest is going to have a real striking advantage, because every time we saw Korean Superboy, he mixes it up very well, right? He's got just a sweet array of strikes, whether it's the kicks or the punches or the elbows. He can really do it all, and I think he's going to have a real speed advantage in this one against Kyle Nelson as well. So how are you seeing this one? On paper, right, it's not the two most impressive fighters, I guess, but I think that these guys, when matched up against each other, are going to be fireworks. So who are you taking, Nelson or Superboy?
Yeah, I like this matchup. I think this is actually going to be a banger, a sleeper fight for sure. Both these guys are savages. It's going to be, it's going to be a great fight. But like you said, I think you hit it on the nail. I think the Korean Superboy is going to be way too fast. And I don't see this fight going the distance. I got to take Korean Superboy KO. I'm thinking first or second round, to be honest. And I just like the speed advantage. I like that he took, years off. He hasn't fought since 2019. He's rebuilding himself. He's been training like a savage, and maybe he's been reborn and comes out an absolute killer and is ready for another title. Try to get to that title with a crazy win streak. So this is a big, basically make it or break it really for both of these guys. Like, someone's getting cut, and Korean Superboy, it's not looking good for him if he loses. Kyle Nelson, maybe they keep him around just for fill in here, but this is a big fight for both these guys' career. But I think Korean Superboy is going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think so too. This definitely is a big fight for both guys, and it's interesting because we've seen Doo-Ho Choi for so long now. He was the famed Superboy, but he's really only 31 years old. I guess he's the Korean Superman now, and he's still pretty young, right? He's got plenty of miles left. Never really took too much damage, and that long layoff, like you said, maybe he comes back like a phoenix, absolutely reborn, and this is the Superboy 2.0. And if we look over at Tapology, 87% thinks that Doo-Ho Choi is going to come back and get this dominant victory. Most is brown. They think the TKO is most likely, and 13% is rolling with the monster, Kyle Nelson. Obviously his friends and family and a few others for sure, but I'm with you. I'm going to go Korean Superboy in this one. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if this fight does go the distance, just because I could see Kyle Nelson finding a way to make this ugly, finding a way to survive, and ultimately losing a close decision to Doo-Ho Choi. But if Doo-Ho Choi comes out and gets one of those vintage Superboy finishes, then I hope it just vaults him right back to the near top of the division, because it was a lot of fun when Doo-Ho Choi was going on his little run of his, and if he can sort of go on a second version now in 2023, that'd be pretty sweet for sure. So I'm going to go Doo-Ho Choi. I like him by decision, and I think at -200, it kind of makes sense. Any last thoughts?
No, great fight. Throw in the comments who you got. Are you taking Korean Superboy or are you taking Mr. Nelson?